course, I'm experiencing things as an adult that most people experienced in junior high and high school. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course, I'm a lightweight when it comes to drinking alcohol. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course, 1 cup of coffee makes my body freak out and gives me the jitters. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course, I was a 30-year-old virgin. Was. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course it feels freeing to be able to wear tank tops again. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course I'm catching up on all the swear words like oh, and I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course I hid while I went to the Book of Mormon musical because I was afraid of anyone seeing me watch something that was inappropriate. I'm an ex-Mormon. Of course I'm going to write a song about how hard it is to walk away from your faith when you believed all your life that it was the absolute truth. That was the deciding factor of every decision you made. And it's called Hell Together. And it's coming out March 20th, by the way. Oh, we'll go to hell together.
Let's go to hell together. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Petersen, coming to you live from the heart of the Midwest. Liberty in our lungs, caffeine in my veins. I've had my double shot of espresso. And this morning, I'm not alone. My lovely wife, Steffi, is here with me.
Good morning. Surprise.
Say good morning, Steffi.
It's not Friday. It's Thursday.
Everybody say good morning in the chat. Good morning, good morning. We're the
Good
group.
morning, Miss Petersen.
Good. Miss, it's Mrs.
Mrs.
Thank
Petersen. Yeah. I used to have teachers that were like really sticklers on the whole MS period. They're like, it's a Ms.
It is Miss. It is
It's
Ms.
just like, geez.
Yeah, they're not married. There's a Mrs.
Right. They would just get, really sensitive about it.
They've got all these degrees, but they don't have an MRS degree.
That's right. That's right. That's the most important one.
Hi, guys. We're going to have fun today. We've got too much stuff to talk about and too much fun to have, but we've already been blessed with something. Quest has blessed. He said, let it rain, or at least drizzle. Drizzling here in the greatest city on earth, Columbus, Ohio, says Drew Van Runkle. And he tossed a buck in, thank you. 58 degrees in Jefferson City.
It rained here last night, and there was a lot of heat lightning. I don't know if it actually struck down on the ground, but we saw it up in the sky.
It's so dry here in Missouri. It's been so hot for so long in the 90s with no rain that when the rain hits, it just kind of hits the ground and just sizzles and just disappears. So you never really see it.
It's like a shield.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually penetrate the ground.
All right, guys. Hope you got your coffee. We got a bunch of stories lined up. First, the Mormons are facing their first TikTok reformation. An angry army of ex-Mormon influencers is mounting what is amounting to a holy war on social media. They're calling it the great unfollowing of the Mormon Church.
Oh my goodness.
The
days we live in.
Unfollow.
When you unfollow the Mormon Church, you know it's getting serious.
Then we're going to look at the job market. You remember the Great Resignation? Everybody was quitting their jobs, live out of vans.
Quiet quitting. Yes.
That is over. Now they're calling it the Great Hugging. Job hugging, right?
Oh,
Workers they're clinging to their jobs like a toddler with a blankie because the economy has everybody too scared to move. President Trump stirred up another storm by calling the Epstein files. Well, you know what? We've got the clip. You can listen to it yourself. Here it is.
Mr. President, right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who is sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir? So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since
Here comes the pivot.
Even if you...
A Democrat hoax. Well,
Cringe. It just sucks to watch that. I've got more video clips on that. We'll talk about it this morning on the show, Steffi. And then we got Remso Martinez today at 8:30 on the show.
He's such a cool guy.
Remso Martinez. We go way back. We'll be looking forward to hearing from him this morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. We'll break it all down. Also, this is a story that hits close to home, I think, for a lot of anybody who's ever been nervous on a first date. They've got a pill called propranolol. Propranolol.
Is it propranolol?
It is propranolol. You know it.
Oh.
Yeah, I used the wrong word earlier when I was.
Isn't that what Michael Jackson used to use?
His was like propanol.
Oh,
His is more like it's like sedative. This is like a light sedative. It's supposed to calm your jitters. The prescriptions for this pill are up 30%, and people are calling it a cheat code for life. Sounds good. I'll take 10. And finally, we'll dive into AI because a new study shows, and you thought this was interesting, a huge gender gap in who actually uses AI. Men are out here prompting away, and while women are worrying that it would make them look incompetent at work. So this is the story.
Interesting.
And also we have the Wall Street Journal had this massive guide on how to use AI for everything, right? How to like redecorate your home, plan your trips, which we're all about.
Yeah.
Which makes this the perfect time to tell everybody, and we're really excited about this. It's
got big news.
It's a huge step
Big
forward.
news.
It's a huge step forward for my career and for the network and what we're doing here. But I've launched my very first online course.
That's right.
And it's this morning. It's dropped like immediately.
It's here.
So
it's here. If
here.
you want to find it, it's at forlibertyshop.com right there on the top of the page.
Yeah. A lot of people, they wonder, Austin, how are you doing everything that you're doing? How are you pulling this off? And I don't give away those kinds of secrets for free, but we do give our secrets away. Stephanie was listening to us building this course in the last few weeks, and she's like,
I was like, are you sure you want to say this? I mean, that's a little TMI because then people can really copy what you're doing because he literally tells you all of the programs to use, how to use them.
So we stay about 2 months ahead of the rest of the world in our competition because of the way that we use AI, how we use it, and what software we use with AI.
Yeah.
There's a million options. A lot of people don't know, well, what should I use and why should I use it and how should I use it for? People are like, Austin, what AI are you using? I'm like, all of them to some extent, right? But I narrowed it down to a certain select few programs,
right.
And I showed you, why you would use this instead of this, which a lot of people really, if they were to even go out today, you could say, oh, there's free tutorials online. I would go do this. But the thing is like, which free tutorial or which app are you going to use? And
yeah, you don't know. There's a lot of different AI programs. You don't know which ones he uses.
Right. And the people who are going to say those things for free, they're not going to show you their secrets. They're just going to say, this is blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, like you get messages from people all the time being like, Austin, can you just do a run through with me on AI? Can you teach me how you do things?
People have been asking a lot.
Good question. Let me make a course.
Yeah. So finally we did it. And I'm hoping that it is going to become a centerpiece of our strategy here to grow our network. And it helps those who are members of the community, because if you are a member of the For Liberty Network, you're going to know this before other people are, right? It's hard for us to get like people who are outside our network to want to like buy into a course like this, but this is a really good training module for people who will hear about this course, who will join us, who will visit the Liberty Shop, who will say, okay, wow, this is a really useful method of my time. I asked Brad yesterday, I said, Brad, for $150, which is what this course costs, and for $50 a month, is that knowing what you know now about AI, before you knew anything about it, and now knowing how fantastically valuable it is, would you say $150 is reasonable? He's like, oh my God, yes, that's nothing compared to the value. It's nothing compared to the value we use to produce with it, right? It's an incredible
absolutely.
value. So.
And $150 doesn't just get you the classes. It also gets you access to
the teaching modules. So you get the videos that are my like tips and tricks that are included in there. You also get live online classes, which are via Zoom. So we're going to where I'll go through each app, giving you use cases, answering your questions.
So those will be scheduled in the months to come.
Yeah. And there's also a live support community page, meaning that you need to fix something. or you've got a question on how to do something right away, and you don't necessarily have time to go back all the way through the lesson,
right.
You can literally just drop a question or something in the private community page, which we've kept on Discord. It's a locked page, and get some support from Brad or myself or whoever we have assigned to it.
Yeah.
So anyways, we thought that you guys would like it. We thought that it would be very useful.
Yeah, I think that's very rare, not only to have a class, but also to have live feedback, a live Q&A. And it's not just during the class, the Q&A. This is even after the class, ongoing.
There we go.
So that's pretty valuable.
So, and don't forget, as always, bonus content unlocks today during the Wake Up America show. If we hit $75 today through Rumble Rants or purchases at the Grift Shop, you get the 5-minute mini documentary. And then if we hit $100, then you guys get the Breakfast Theater. And today's...
That's actually a really good one.
Today. Did you guys see that Chucky from Chuck E. Cheese got arrested yesterday? I kid you not.
Well, he should be arrested for what he did to me as a child.
Okay, that's a little creepy. But can we just wait? We'll leave him hanging on that, Stephanie. All right, and here's the video of the arrest.
Chucky's a little bit busy, man. Chucky.
He looks different now. That's not how he looked a long time ago.
Stop resisting. You're being detained. Stop resisting. Let it go. Let it go. Do not cause a scene here, sir. I got Alright, for now we have 1 to 10.
Chucky, no.
I'm just doing my job.
I gotcha. You don't have anything that's gonna poke me or stick me, right?
No, sir.
Right. Don't worry about reaching or anything, okay?
Don't worry about reaching, Chucky. Anyway, so here's the thing. We managed to get a hookup. We can get a camera in the jail, the county lockup today. But it's going to cost us $100 to pay off the guards in order for us to get Chucky on the show today to comment on that. So if you guys want to have a camera from Chuck E. Cheese, just go buy the AI course and that'll one-shot it. We'll have Chuck E. Cheese on the show today.
Yeah,
and you'll get your bonus
I'll tell you
content.
about my terrible traumatic story about Chucky, what he did to me as a young child.
Yep.
Yeah. I had to go to therapy for it. It's pretty bad. I'm serious. It was a lifelong challenge that he caused for me.
Just tell them the story.
Oh, I can tell them now.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So when I was about 4 or 5, I had a birthday party, and it was at Chuck E. Cheese because all the kids, in the 90s, they wanted their birthday party there. So we actually have this on family video. Austin was watching too, and I'm in my mom's. She's holding me. And Chucky is approaching us, and I was very scared of him. I guess he was really creepy, and so I was crying. He kept approaching us. My mom is screaming, "Get away! Get away!" And he comes up to me, and I'm freaking out. And so after that day, I had a fear of people in costumes up until college. No joke. To the point where I couldn't go to Disney World until I was 16. And even when I was 16, I stayed away from all the people in costumes. In college, I remember my mascot was right there in the cafeteria. And I literally freaked out. And I told him, I said, "Get away, get away." And he went and hid in the corner, my poor mascot. So I was like, this is embarrassing. I need help. And so I actually went to the therapy place at my university, and my therapist did exposure therapy with me, and she took me to a pep rally where my mascot was to do exposure so that, I could actually meet a person in a costume and face them, because I hadn't faced them since my party at Chuck E. Cheese. And so, so we ended up going into the back of the basketball arena, and we found my mascot, and he had no head on. It was this whole thing. But I have a photo of me and my mascot. I need to send you that photo later. And and so that was my exposure therapy. And after that day, I still get nervous around people in costumes, but I can at least deal with it.
Well, today he's only going to be remote, so you don't have to worry about him getting you. But
I have not faced Chucky since my trauma. And I don't know if I'll ever bring Hazel to Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, don't have to worry about that. I don't think there's a Chuck E. Cheese anywhere around here.
I heard they're going to come up with adult Chuck E. Cheeses now.
What?
That was like this new thing.
That's just a pizza place with like an arcade in it. That's all it is.
But Chucky is there. That's the thing.
I don't know. I don't trust anything named Chucky, to be quite honest. So, all right. So our first story this morning takes us to Salt Lake City, or more accurately, to TikTok. The Mormon Church is facing what you would call its first big social media apostasy. They've got a wave of ex-Mormon influencers, and they're calling them ex-Mo influencers. Take a listen.
First time I went to a Mormon temple, I was basically naked. That is not an exaggeration, because what I was wearing was something like this. This is called a shield. It's a piece of fabric that's completely open on the sides that's draped over it. You can kind of think of it like a hospital gown or something like that.
You guys are going to die when you see what I have on. Hold up. This is an actual shield from the Mormon temple. I found this in my grandma's things with her temple clothes after she died. So when I was a 20-year-old girl and I went to the temple for my Mormon wedding, then they handed me this little teeny thing, and they told me to take off all of my clothes, my bra, my panties, everything. I didn't want to because it was that time of month, and I was like, I need my panty liner. I don't want to be without underwear. But they told me that I couldn't go to my wedding if I hadn't done what's called the washings and anointings. You can watch my video pinned to the top of my page for the full video on that. And the reason why you wear this thing is because when you get into the temple, they want to be able to touch you underneath it.
What?
So this is designed for total strangers. In my case, it was two grandmas. One of them had purple hair and long frosty fingernails, to actually like bless my head, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, all that stuff. And then they went underneath and they blessed my breast. They blessed everything, my loins. They went down my back with water and then oil. Hold up.
Oil? What is going on?
Damn, nice.
And this lady, she cannot be Mormon. Her husband would never let her do this.
Ex-Mormon.
Oh, okay.
Ex-Mormon.
Yeah. She probably divorced her husband too while she was at it.
Yeah. So ex-Mormon is the word that they're using. They call it ex-Mo.
Of course, they have to make it sound trendy, right?
Ex-Mormon. Yeah. So, but these are, these viral videos are tearing into everything about the church, from Joseph Smith's polygamy, the church's ban on black men in the priesthood before 1978, and the LDS leadership has been scrambling to keep up. They've actually hired ad agencies to help them with this.
They're like, "Hi, I'm a real Mormon,
yes,
even though I'm getting paid."
So I guess could you say that this is a full-blown holy war?
I guess so. I mean, in this modern world, yeah, it's an internet holy war.
This is what happens in a Mormon temple.
This is how to be ordained to become a king or queen in the Mormon afterlife. First, in an LDS temple, be washed and anointed and receive a new name with new underwear. You will wear this underwear night and day for the rest of your life. After your washing and anointing, dress in white, covering everything other than your head and your hands. Enter a white room with pews and divide by gender. Learn the laws of God and dress in the robes of the holy priesthood, which are first put on the left shoulder. Next, learn the handshakes, keywords, and signs to ensure you can get past the angels who stand as sentinels and walk back into the presence of the Father. Participate in the true order of prayer. This is done by standing in a circle and repeating, "O God, hear the words of my mouth," 3 times. Stand at the veil of the temple and pass the test to show you know all the correct words and the correct handshakes. Enter through the veil. You are now ordained to be a king or queen in the Mormon afterlife.
It's always these funny hats and weird clothes.
Do we have any Mormons in the chat, by the way? Can anyone confirm or deny these claims?
We probably do. We get people. They don't like to be called Mormons anymore. They want to be called LDS.
Yes, the LDS church.
Yeah.
We had some LDS visitors to our house this past year.
Somebody thought it would be funny to prank us by putting us on the list of interested in every single church in the area. When I say every single church, I mean, every single church. So these two sweet little Mormon girls showed up and were chatting with us while we were I think this was before Hazel was born, actually.
Because we were outside doing lawn work, so I don't know where Hazel would have been.
No, she wasn't there. So
yeah, I think we were like, yes, we're expecting, and they were really excited. They said they'd pray for us.
Yeah, and they're very sweet girls, and I don't know what it is. They all look like angels. Like the women are these beautiful, blonde with that. This is why I think that show, what was it called? The Mormon Wives. What was it?
Oh, like
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Housewives.
A lot of people,
like housewives.
Yeah. People love to watch those shows because it's like these very beautiful girls who are a part of these things. And now they're experiencing this massive apostasy.
But you were asking them some really interesting questions about like the Jews and what is it? The Jews took a boat over from Israel or something to America.
It was a little sketch. So the Jews, the Native Americans here, are Jews.
Oh, cool.
Who came to the United States, and Jesus also came to the United States.
Oh, and he was here in Missouri.
Joseph Smith was here in Missouri.
And we have a Holy Land here in Missouri.
Jackson County, right? But it became a problem, and then there were the Mormon wars, and they drove them out, and there was a lot of fighting out in Utah as well. But Mormon membership growth has slowed dramatically. It's now to under 1% in the United States versus 4% annual growth decades ago. So it's come down, pretty much.
They need to watch our AI course so they can get a good marketing strategy.
There you go. Self-identified Mormons in the U.S. went down from 0.9% to 1.8% in 2012. And by the way, this is not necessarily a good thing in some ways because as much as I sort of like dislike organized religion, Mormons are pretty much the most libertarian of the religions that you will find. Right? They have like the least authoritarian impulses when it comes to government,
and they believe in giving to charity. I remember reading something about that.
Oh yeah, very much.
In terms of how they give to others
voluntarily. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So these ex-Mormon TikTokers, they're calling them ex-Mo. They post these viral critiques of LDS history, culture, and doctrine. And a lot of these videos are highlighting the polygamy of the original founders, a lot of the anti-gay teachings, restrictions on women, and the church's wealth scandal because they have this vast pile of wealth and they don't really report it to the government, right? So they don't want one can understand incompletely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really intrigued by Mormons. I'm intrigued by any religion that has odd rituals. That's why I like Amish people.
That's kind of like all of them. What are some religions that don't have any odd rituals is what I would like to know. Be curious to hear your thoughts. You can send us.
People are probably expecting me to be like, oh, Jewish. No. They have weird things too.
They have lots of weird rituals. Yeah, for sure. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show right now, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Petersen. They call me AP for Liberty. This is my lovely wife, Stephanie, who's joining us live today.
They call me Steffi P for Liberty.
Steffi P for Liberty. Do us a favor, guys, and click the like button if you haven't already. We'd love to have you be a regular guest on the Wake Up America show, and the way to do that is to click the follow button before you join us. St. Selma says, weird is a subjective thing. That is true. I will say, though, that I do have a high tolerance for weird, very high tolerance for weird. But that doesn't mean I don't think that things are weird. So, gosh, I think I ran out of ex-Mo clips, but.
Well, I mean, it's good entertainment. I certainly like watching these kinds of clips, but I feel bad for people that, really are taking this religion seriously.
It's kind of hard to take it seriously when you hear about the tenets of it, right? Especially when you know about how like it was a religion that we know a lot about the founders of. There's not a lot of new religions. I mean, there might be a lot on paper per se, but there's not a lot of new necessarily popular religions. And so we know a lot about Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and their lives and their ancestry, their genealogy.
Right.
So it's easy for us to sort of judge them, right? What we know of Muhammad from Islam is very limited compared. They say that we know a lot about him because of the Quran and because of things that are handed down and what they are, but it's really difficult. Record keeping back then, what was it? Islam was founded around like 800. I think, or so.
Yeah,
somebody check
Islam
me
was
on
the
there.
more recent religion. So,
But it was still like over 1,000
what
years
was
ago.
it? So Judaism was not the first religion. There was actually a
No.
religion before Judaism.
Are you talking about a monotheistic religion?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was Zoroastrianism
Yes.
that predates Judaism.
So there's that, and then
but that's still
Judaism-
around.
Wow. I mean, see, like I would go for the religion that is the oldest, because to me that would be like, well, that was the first. So why wouldn't you believe that one? Why would you believe the one that came more recently? Wouldn't you think people would have believed in Mormonism way a long time ago if that's really
Well, no, because
who the God was?
well, this is why they're called Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
Is that the miracles of the Bible were not completed. So like the New Testament is an addendum to the Old Testament, which is the Torah, right?
Yeah.
The Torah and then the New Testament. And then the Mormons just did what the early Christians did with Judaism. They just wrote another chapter, which
Right.
is the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to believe the stories when you hear about how Joseph Smith translated the plates, and he got these golden tablets, these golden plates that he found, and then he translated those. An angel came to him that helped him to translate the golden plates. Please, if I'm getting the history wrong, please forgive me. But I think from the story is that the only surviving copies of the Book of Mormon initially, the first ones, were destroyed by people who were like, this is apostasy and heresy.
Sure.
And so then Joseph Smith actually had to go, and he said that the first time the plates were lost forever, but then he magically found them again.
Oh.
So that he could translate them again to write another Book of Mormon in order to ensure that Mormonism would survive.
He just went to the Goodwill shop and he's like, oh, there they are. I found them again. Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
So it's a little tough to believe. You can understand why people would leave, right? When things like that happen to you, there's like awkward or uncomfortable. You probably, when you're covering yourself with this dress that this woman, I guess what they call it, shield.
Yeah.
And somebody's taking oil and touching that you don't know and touching your private parts. You're going to question something like that. I wonder.
I mean, that's assault.
Yeah.
So I guess I would say for all of the single guys out there, look out for the ex-mo ladies because they're beautiful. They're pretty pure, maybe relatively. So the ex-mo girls are coming out onto the Tinder apps.
Oh, probably.
So I'd say look out for
those would be
them.
good girls to get too.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
they haven't been passed around at the local brewery.
That's right.
Do you guys think that other churches should be worried about this? Do you guys see something like this happening with other religious groups? I wonder. And then
Scientology.
I
mean, there's been documentaries about Scientology before.
Yeah, but people have been coming out against Scientology for years. Right. Yeah, but I think that probably the most interesting part of this story is that the Mormon Church is fighting back with ad agencies.
I'm curious to see what ads they're going to do because are they going to be like, this is a shield. Nobody touches us with oil beneath the shield. Like how are they going to make these wrongs right?
I don't know. So I don't know. If your religion's biggest threat is TikTok, then maybe the Book of Mormon needs a remix, like Book Talk of Mormon.
Yeah. They're probably going to ban the use of TikTok and social media in the Mormon church so that more Mormons are not going to find these videos.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, that is against our beliefs to use TikTok.
Mormons used to send missionaries door to door. Now they're sliding into your DMs like, have you heard the good news? Smash that subscribe button. Ex-Mormons used to leave quietly. Now they've got viral videos titled My Cult Glow Up. Joseph Smith had multiple wives, but Gen Z can't even keep one situationship going. So
yeah, that is true.
Quest says he thinks that I think going with professional marketing is actually a wise choice.
They're going to need a really good PR person to figure all of this out and just smooth things over. I just hope this is all just a misunderstanding. Just tell me like these things really didn't happen. Women were not, sliding their hands over this lady's body with oil.
We're at $40 raised towards the bonus content so far, guys.
Yay! And if anybody gets the course today, you're going to surpass the bonus content. So we will be there immediately.
Yep. So we're going to take a really quick little commercial break, guys. Don't go away. When we get back, we've got the Jeffrey Epstein meeting yesterday. Some people named some names, one of them an ex-president. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's the Wake Up America show, and what are we on?
The For Liberty Network.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise.
Here at Alligator Alcatraz, the fence keeps them in. But slip up, and you're on my plate.
Looks like breakfast is making a run for it. We got 3 hot meals trying to check out early from Alligator Alcatraz.
They can splash, they can sprint, but there's no escaping Alligator Alcatraz. Caught 2. The third? Huh. The swamp's got its own way of catching runaways.
Mama was wrong. Gators don't need toothbrushes. Just an honest job making America great again.
This summer isn't about sunscreen and safe spaces. It's about liberty, laughs, and looking like a red, white, and righteous badass. Welcome to the Summer of Freedom collection. Beach towels bold enough to trigger a liberal arts professor. Tank tops louder than a 4th of July fireworks finale. And mugs that scream, "Don't tread on my caffeine." Whether you're storming the sandbar or just grilling like George Washington with a Bluetooth speaker, this is the gear that lets everyone know. You're not here to play woke. You're here to play cornhole with conviction. So crack open a cold one, fire up the freedom, and rock the merch that makes communists cry. The Summer of Freedom is here. And it's absolutely unapologetic. Patriots, listen up. The sun's out, the shades are on, and the Gulf of America is wide open for business. This summer, don't show up to the beach looking like a landlocked liberal. Gear up with the Gulf of America collection. Towels, tumblers, shirts, hats, fanny packs, because nothing says freedom like cannonballing into liberty with style. Whether you're grilling burgers, catching waves, or just flexing on social media, do it draped in stars, stripes, and pure American greatness. The Gulf of America isn't just a place, it's a lifestyle. Hit forlibertyshop.com and roll into summer like the Founding Fathers just handed you the keys to the coast. Beaches, BBQs, and bald eagles approve. You should too. Head over to forlibertyshop.com and get your Gulf of America gear. Summer is coming fast. That's forlibertyshop.com. Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion.
Like the weather was bad, and it's damn you libertarians for causing it. And I mean that quite literally. This was a guy that was into peak oil theory, if you remember that, the radical environmental movement. And he had this crazy theory that peak oil proved that economic libertarianism and free markets were wrong, that they were an unnatural perversion that exploited resources in ways that we were going to run out of oil, and therefore our age of abundance, our prosperity that we enjoyed in the 2000s and 2010s was like this false imposition created by exploiting Mother Nature.
So today's tariff supporters are yesterday's peak oil freakers. Great.
Absolutely.
Voodoo
and
economics.
They have no economics behind any of this. I mean, the peak oil theory was essentially discarded by the environmental left when it never panned out. Just the same way, rather than building an economic theory of why tariffs are supposed to work.
2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us.
That is really sad. Good morning.
Oh,
Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Petersen. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. We're glad and thankful to have you here. We're well on the way to unlocking the bonus content. We've raised 45 out of $75 to $100. When we hit $100, we've got the money to bribe the guy guarding the local jail where Chucky from Chuck E. Cheese has been arrested. So if we hit $100, we'll get a camera inside the jail, and that'll be a lot of fun. We also have a mini documentary for you guys. Steffi's hanging out with us
Hello,
on the show today. It's about time we had a Thirsty Thursday with the sweet little Steffi, says Nelson65.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, Nelson. Yeah, Thirsty Thursday. Yeah, we didn't have
Thank
Camellia.
you, Nelson.
Camelia's been on the road so much lately.
I know. She's a roadie, essentially.
Well, roadie would apply. She's the star of the show.
She is. She's the star and the roadie. I feel really bad for these women. I know the whole hashtag Me Too kind of movement, but it's hard not to believe what a woman like that is saying.
It is hard.
She seems sincere.
It's not just, well, she isn't to say that people can't be lying, but here's the thing. I was hearing from this lawyer yesterday. This is what this lawyer had to say, is that Trump has been helping all the way up until this point.
Thank you all for being here. I'll go first and then I'll let them. They're much more important than me, but I don't understand why it's a hostile act. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy? The world should know who he is.
So Trump had been helping all of this time. Oh, there's a misspelling on that lower third there. Check that out.
Epstein Act to Florida Day.
Oh, no, there's not.
Lawyer Epstein kept no list.
I thought there was. I'm dyslexic, apparently. Oh, my God. I thought that there was an I before the E.
Oh, yes. I think it's okay. Epstein Act to Florida Day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
that's War Room, though. That's not like a mainstream media.
No, that's the Bannon outlet. But here's the thing. So Trump calls it a hoax. Apparently, one of the victims was kind of shocked to hear him say that.
Lisa, I appreciate you being with us, both of you being with us. You heard the president call this a Democrat hoax that never ends. What did you think when you hear that?
For me personally, it was shocking and upsetting. I couldn't believe that he said that. Just for so many years, he acknowledged that there were thousands of files and he was going to release them. And so hearing that today, I was just confused by it. I think he thought that we were targeting him, and we weren't. I don't believe there's any evidence that he abused any of the survivors. So it wasn't a target against him. It was just, a cry for us being fed up and wanting answers.
What is it? What's the impact been on your life? How are you holding up through this? Not just in recent months, but this is obviously going on for many years.
Well, it comes in waves. It's hard to deal with because we're we just want some accountability, and we haven't received any. The only person that's been held accountable is a woman, and we were abused by a man who sex trafficked a lot of us. And so we are aware there are many other men out there, and we just don't understand, or we are nearing the end of our fight, pushing us to, make other decisions.
This is an interesting story. I mean, it's hard to believe that all of these victims would be lying or that they would be concealing something. But none of them are saying that Donald Trump is implicated in these files. None of them are saying that,
only Elon is saying that he's implicated.
Took that back. He took that back.
Yes.
But I think he was just angry and he was lashing out.
That's messed up.
Leo's mom in the chat. First time we've seen Leo's mom. Hi, Leo's mom.
Leo's mom? Isn't that Culturama? Leo is her child.
That could be her. So she says that, assuming that that's who we think it is.
I don't know. I'm wondering.
She might want some anonymity. I'm not sure. But it's not what occurred was a hoax. It's the fact that the opposition using it as a weapon hoax connecting President Trump to Epstein. No, we're thinking, but we also think that Trump has never been implicated in these files. The only people who ever accused him was Elon Musk, who took it back when he was angry. So, and my thinking on this one, as I'm thinking, is that it doesn't make sense for the women to come out and name names against very powerful people who are still alive right now.
Who are Democrats.
Well, here's the thing. They wouldn't. People are like, well, why don't they just name names and stuff? They're like, well, there'll be lawsuits against them for defamation. Well, here's the thing. You might say, oh, well, if the justice system works, then their names will be cleared, right? Unless they're defaming, in which case, if they're lying, then yeah, absolutely, then they should be prosecuted for defamation for lying. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Even if they don't have a rock solid case, if they can't stand in solidarity, the rich, powerful people who engaged in these actions, they don't have to have. There is no justice in this country. The people who have the most amount of money are able to buy justice in this country, and they don't even have to necessarily corrupt the legal system officially by paying off a judge or something or trying to intimidate a jury. All they have to do is outspend you. That's all it takes. So in terms of thinking, Leo's mom, what I'm thinking is that even if you're innocent, you can still be destroyed. Now, Eric,
absolutely.
Here's a perfect case of this. Okay, Eric Greitens, former governor of Missouri, cheated on his wife while his wife was having his baby in the hospital.
With that woman, the hairstylist.
Yeah, terrible story of infidelity. But here's the thing about that. They didn't go after him for that. They claimed that that's what they were going after him for, and they were suing him and suing him and suing him and suing him. They were bankrupting him eventually personally to the point to where he couldn't hold on to the governorship anymore because he was being ruined financially. So to the point to where it didn't matter if any of the accusations that were made against him were true or false because he was bankrupted. Yeah. So he had to leave. He finally cut a deal where he said, if you'll stop suing me, I will leave office. And they did. Yeah. Right. So rich and powerful people in this country, it doesn't matter if they're right or if they're wrong because they can drag out court proceedings forever. So if these victims came out and started naming names and were doing so without a solid case to defend themselves with public transparency, people think, the courts are supposed to not act according to how the public feels about things, but we all know that the truth is that they absolutely do.
These lawyers, they support the judges. They're all in cahoots with each other. They all work together.
Yes.
So it's no secret that these sneaky things happen. It's like we see all the time. Alleged child abusers, they get put on trial. They get convicted, and it's just if even one child says this person abused me. That can land somebody in jail for the rest of their life. So when we have all these women coming out saying, I've been abused by these people, why is nothing happening? Somehow one child can just be like, my uncle abused me, send him to jail. And he gets sent to jail. It's like, how? Why is it easy for one, but not for the other? And it's because these people have so much money. And so they're just throwing money at the situation to try to make it go away.
Yeah. Andy says, if Trump did not have such an epic legacy of being a cheating playboy, this notion that he's in the files would be easily brushed off. His epic horn dog past makes this look plausible. Yeah. So, I mean,
100%. And he was friends with Epstein. We've seen videos of him.
Yeah. That's why he hates this. Yeah.
With Epstein. So it's not like he didn't talk to the guy. And I always say, it's about who you surround yourself with. Guilty by association, unfortunately. That's how our society works.
Well, and there you go. So the fact that public sentiment matters, lawyers know this. People like Trump know this, right? So when they have public sentiment on their side, they think that it helps their court case, and it probably does, right? Think about like all of the lawyers or the jury and the judge, Lance Ito from the O.J. Simpson trial. They probably felt intimidated. They didn't want to be the bad guy that everybody was going to hate. Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, perfect example of this. Obamacare. He didn't want to be the justice to overturn Obamacare. He didn't want to do what he thought was going to be unpopular. So he let the crowds determine the legal precedent that he was going to set. Mm-hmm. Not because he was... because he thought it was the right decision, but because he was an effing coward. That's how people are. They go with the winds of sentiment. You're supposed to have justice in this country, but you don't have justice in this country.
Yeah.
Justice is something that can be bought and sold. There's justice for a price. If you can afford justice, you can have justice in America.
Absolutely.
If you can't afford justice, well, then too bad for you. Sorry.
Basically, if you can't afford a lawyer in this society, you are pretty much screwed.
Oh, yeah. If you can't afford a good lawyer, right? If the right person comes, if the right person comes after you here in the United States and they put enough money, they can end you. They can destroy you completely, and the justice system will be their tool. So, I'm glad to see Thomas Massie coming out there and doing things like this, honestly.
Said this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
I mean, there she is. She's a Republican, but no, she's a Democrat plant, some would say. I don't know. I believe her.
I mean, Bill Clinton was involved in all this too. He's clearly not a Republican.
Bill Clinton trending this morning because one of those survivors that got up there actually did name Bill Clinton. And the woman who named him at that event, she had dark hair then. Oh. But this is a picture of her now.
Monica Lewinsky? No, I'm kidding.
No. But no. So this was the woman who was talking.
I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But I mean, the photograph that was circulating. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, because she said she went to Africa with Bill Clinton.
She flew on the Lolita Express with Bill Clinton. Well, look who it is. There she is, right there. That's
my
her.
gosh.
That's that same girl right there.
What?
Yeah.
There's even photos of her giving massages.
Yeah.
So what does he say about this? Yes, I hired a A woman to give me a massage at the airport? Or where in the world is that? That is the airport, isn't it?
So this is a photo of Jeffrey Epstein victim giving a back massage to Bill Clinton in 2002. So Clinton flew on Epstein's plane at least 26 times in 2002 and 2003.
So there is proof that this woman was with this guy,
So
with Bill.
So she is a human trafficking victim.
Wow.
She was one of Epstein's victims. This is them at the airport getting ready to get on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane.
Do you think this is AI?
No, I've seen this one before. This has been a widely circulated.
I wonder who
image,
would have allowed a camera, because you would think if they're doing something so underground, so secret, they would not allow cameras.
Yeah, there was another fake massage picture that did come out that was confirmed to be a fake. And I don't know if I can find it here, but somebody did it. They actually found an actor to make this picture. This is not
my
AI.
goodness.
Hold on, fake.
See, that's what I'm in this age of technology and deep fakes. I just don't know. I'm sure the courts are really going to struggle with this one too, because it's like, okay, we have proof. We've got pictures. We've got videos. Really? Well, pictures and videos can be totally messed with nowadays.
Yeah. I can't find it right now. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, this is funny. Okay, check this out. This
my gosh.
This one is fake, but it's so good. Oh, look who posted it. Kenny Webster. Oh God, that's funny.
Oh my goodness.
There it is. So see this photo right here? It says real or fake photo of Bill Clinton. It seems too good to be true. And then look, she's getting this like massage from this busty massage chick here, and he's got like he's totally naked.
Here's the thing: that woman does not look like a child.
Okay, no, she doesn't. But it's still like a photograph of Bill, and he's naked and he's got the remote in his hand. They found an actor that looks like just like Bill Clinton for this one. Yeah,
But still, sex trafficking could happen with adults too, not just children.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it looks real, and it just looks it very much looks exactly like him. But it looks like Kenny got busted on this one because he had posted this back in 2016, this photograph.
No.
Yeah, public poll, real or fake photo of Bill Clinton. Look how childish Kenny looks. He looked like a little boy back in 2016. God, 2016 was such a long time ago.
Well, he was a little boy. I mean, he's only, in his 30s? So back in 2016, that was 10 years ago.
Well, he's late 30s now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
so
Kenny Webster, friend of the
20s.
show. We always appreciate him. I was on his show yesterday.
He's been
in
very good
Texas.
to us.
He certainly has. I'm actually going to go on his show next week to talk about the AI course and all that. So I'm excited for that. It's 8:00, which means it's time for another break. And we haven't unlocked the mini documentary, guys, but we are close. So do us a fave. Head over to the Grift Shop at thegriftshop.com. Get yourself something real nice. Get yourself a embroidered cap.
Oh, I have something. I drink out of this Gulf of America cup. I stole it from Austin.
We got 8 seconds.
And it really keeps your water super, super cold when you put ice cubes in it, I swear.
3, 2.
Imagine bringing George Washington back to life. Just to explain that in 2025, men can get pregnant, waving an American flag might offend someone, and our government is $34 trillion in debt. But that's not all, George. We have Drag Queen Story Hour for toddlers. Pronouns are mandatory. And Harvard can't define woman. Oh. And we send billions to Ukraine but can't fix potholes in Ohio. You know, just normal modern empire stuff. I'm sure he'd be totally cool with it. Right after he finishes reloading. He didn't cross the Delaware for this nonsense, but you can carry on the fight with gear that would have made King George cry. Shop bold, shop free, shop for libertyshop.com. Picture this. It's 1776. Thomas Jefferson is hunched over his desk at Monticello, ink-stained fingers, writing the most radical document in human history. Do you really think he was sipping Starbucks? No. He was drinking something bold, something black, something brewed strong enough to fuel a revolution. That's the spirit behind Founding Flavors, our signature line of liberty-fueled coffee. No soy froth, no climate guilt, no corporate slogans. Just real coffee, inspired by the men who wrote freedom into existence. Every cup is a quiet protest. against mediocrity, against tyranny, against bad coffee. So this morning, skip the globalist brew. Grab something worthy of a free man's sunrise. Founding Flavors. Now brewing at forlibertyshop.com. Picture this. When the Founding Fathers dreamed of liberty, they forgot one thing: coffee. Introducing Founding Flavors Coffee, the brew that built America, and the brew that's fueling a new revolution, one kitchen at a time. Small batch roasted, Patriot approved, and disappearing faster than a red coat at Yorktown. Don't get left behind, soldier. Real patriots are starting their mornings with Founding Flavors. And trust us, freedom tastes better with a fresh cup in your hand. Stop drinking those tyrant brews who take your money and don't support your values. Stocks are limited, demand is booming, and your morning deserves a taste of liberty. Order now at forlibertyshop.com before the next shipment gets signed, sealed, and sold out. Founding Flavors Coffee, the official brew of morning rebellions everywhere. Get yours at forlibertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and
media, whether it's the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times, that even the other side or the super free market people are getting addicted to tariff income. I've been saying 300 billion, but I think it could be much higher. Every 300 billion is 1% of GDP. We got left with a mess in terms of the deficit to GDP. The highest ever when we weren't in a recession, weren't at war. So just with the tariff income, we're going to be in the fives, which is incredible. Like that's like running a marathon and starting 5 miles before everybody else.
That's supposed to be the smartest guy in the Trump administration. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Petersen. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network, which means... yeah, for liberty. We're not big fans of the taxes. And tariffs raise costs. If you've gone to Walmart or Target lately, have you noticed that they stopped putting price stickers on them? Yeah, viral TikToks showing people who work at the shops saying their bosses are having them rip these stickers off of the products as soon as they can. Customers are like, how much does this cost? Well, it costs a lot more than it used to. Joining us now to discuss the war on liberty and the battle in the Republican Party between what is known as the post-liberal right against the economic libertarians. Like my next guest, his name is Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil Magnus joining us live. Did you guys want that other Dr. Phil? Don't be mad. Dr. Phil Magnus is even better. He's an economic historian with the Independent Institute. He's joining us live here on the Wake Up America show for the first time. Good morning, Dr. Phil. Nice to see you. Here. So tariff revenue, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, says even free market guys are getting addicted to the money that's coming in from the tariff revenues. Do you know any, Dr. Phil?
I do not know any, and I'm pretty well versed in the free market economics scene, but I've yet to find even one single example of someone who's endorsing this tax hike. But it is coming from other parts of the Republican Party, which does kind of horrify me, the fact that they are celebrating what is arguably the largest peacetime tax hike in American history, and it's one that was imposed by executive decree rather than any legislation.
Yeah, it's a shame. Joni Rankin over in the chat, she says, hey, your question, Austin, your question about kings and people's nature to crave kings is great Aristotle stuff. Politics has been on my mind recently. I get it, Joni. We don't need a king in this country, and we certainly don't need anyone unilaterally raising tariffs in our country, but there is an ideological underpinning to tariffs. There's no economic underpinning for tariffs, Dr. Phil, but there is an ideological underpinning for tariffs. What is the ideology behind people who seek to drive the prices of the goods and services that you and I buy every day, every American does every day, to drive them higher? What is that philosophy, and what does it stand for?
Right. Well, there's an undercurrent that's playing out in parts of the Republican Party and on the right at the current moment. It's called post-liberalism. And this is a philosophical movement that started mostly among very traditionalist religious people, Catholics in particular, in the last 15 to 20 years. And essentially what they do is they merge an extremely conservative social outlook, almost theocratic in some respects, with Elizabeth Warren's economic agenda. So a very far left-wing interventionist economic agenda, although unlike Warren, who sees this as like the next step to progressivism, they see this as a step to ordering society around a very socially conservative structure premised in the family and the church, but augmenting it with a massive top-down interventionist state that embraces tariff protectionism to direct the economy. They also like antitrust and industrial policy and higher taxes, a more rigorous social safety net. So it's essentially a left-wing economic agenda adapted in a very right-wing direction.
Well, where did this come from? Because it seemed like 2010, 2012, we're talking about the Tea Party years. Economic libertarianism seemed to be ascendant. People were all moving in our direction, and then something changed. What changed?
Well, the post-liberal movement emerged as this intellectual force, and they really kind of appropriated the cause. Like most economic interventionists, they're really bad at interpreting economic history. So they seized on the financial crisis in 2008 and somehow blamed that on free markets. So it's very much like the modern monetary people on the left seized on some of these same events in the Biden years and tried to steer us in a direction of just profligate spending. Well, the post-liberals did the same, and they crafted this narrative that the reason that the Republican Party was losing to Obama, the reason the Republican Party had gone astray, was the fact that it had been captured in previous decades by free market, fundamentalist, neoliberal, economic libertarians, essentially. And they declared war on them. You read some of their writings around the late 2000s, early 2010s, and these are figures like Patrick Deneen. It's economic libertarians are the source of all evil in the world. It's like the weather was bad, and it's damn you libertarians for causing it. And I mean that quite literally. This was a guy that was into peak oil theory, if you remember that, the radical environmental movement. And he had this crazy theory that peak oil proved that economic libertarianism and free markets were wrong, that they were an unnatural perversion that exploited resources in ways that we were going to run out of oil, and therefore our age of abundance, our prosperity that we enjoyed in the 2000s and 2010s was like this false imposition created by exploiting Mother Nature.
So today's tariff supporters are yesterday's peak oil freaker. Absolutely. Great.
Absolutely.
Voodoo
and
economics.
They have no economics behind any of this. I mean, the peak oil theory was essentially discarded by the environmental left when it never panned out. Just the same way, rather than building an economic theory of why tariffs are supposed to work, they go dig deep into the past and they pull up these crackpot theories from the 19th century that are almost like conspiracy theories. They claim that free trade is this British imposition from Adam Smith and David Ricardo that was brought in to make America subservient to the British Empire. This is like a conspiracy theory that was popular among nativists in the 1850s. And they pretend as if this is like a lost economic legacy of the United States that only they have recovered. And then they've merged it with religious social theocracy and put it forth as like it's the new rights platform for the American public. And unfortunately, they've gotten a lot of currency because we also happen to have a vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance, who's a personal mentee of Patrick Deneen, the leading figure of the post-liberal movement, calls himself a post-liberal, came into office, built his political career ranting and raving against free trade on how it was supposedly the source of all of America's economic problems, had hollowed out industry. And therefore, we need tariffs and this extreme social conservatism to set the order right.
We've got Dr. Phil on the show this morning. He's an economic historian from the Independent Institute, great liberty institution. Been around for a long time. They always do a lot of great work for our country. And I'm speaking to Dr. Phil Magnus today about what he calls the war on post-liberalism that he did not declare because the post-liberals have declared war on us. So, and on economics. So what is the core of this conflict, would you say, in plain English, Doctor? If you were speaking to, explain it to me like I'm 5, Michael Scott from The Office. Help me to understand just the core of this and why this matters to the people who are about to eat bacon and eggs and coffee with their breakfast and their families this morning.
Well, the core of it is they're drawing on bad economic theories that are going to impose higher prices on us, going to impose higher taxes on us. The post-liberals decided that economic libertarians were the enemy, the evil. They needed to be purged from the right. And this is something, if you go back to the mid-20th century, a very fragile but nonetheless existent coalition emerged between economic free marketeers, conservative traditionalists, and then in some cases the military hawks. But it's like the old Ronald Reagan coalition. And what it meant is that economic libertarians, even though they weren't always calling the shots, they enjoyed a home generally in the political right. And it meant that the Republican Party at least nominally committed itself to lower taxes, that they pay lip service to cutting government spending. They didn't always do it, but at least there was a seat at the table in that conversation. And the post-liberals decided, well, this is what had caused the right to go astray. We need to get rid of the economic libertarians. So about 10 or 15 years ago, you have people like Deneen. They just declare that the economic libertarians no longer belong in the conservative movement. We are going to seek to purge them. And he uses this type of language. What do? They purge them, and they create a vacuum to bring in other figures on the right, including factions that people like William F. Buckley 50 or 60 years ago had excluded intentionally, had purged from the right. In other words, I'm meaning racists and anti-Semites and these conspiracy crackpots. Buckley pushed out of the conservative movement in the 1960s and 70s. Well, Deneen's opened the door back.
You're talking about the people who do the Elon Musk wave, but they do it serious.
They are a bit more serious.
But they're a bit more serious about the Elon Musk wave. It's the...
Exactly. So it's actually a very frightening phenomenon.
The thing that offends me the most about these people is that their project deliberately collides with the American founding, right?
Absolutely.
Because the American founding leads towards limited government and individual rights. How does post-liberal theory conflict with the principles of the American founding?
Well, post-liberals, if you dig deep into their philosophy, they absolutely hate John Locke. And they hate that derivative of the English political tradition that comes out of Locke. And what do we know? Well, John Locke is the basis for the Declaration of Independence. So there's a straight line in that strain of philosophical thinking that informs the Founding Fathers. And they hate John Locke because they see him as irredeemably individualist. They see him as a proto-libertarian. And if you read some of the post-liberal philosophical tracts, they write these entire books, and it's Deneen, it's Adrian Vermeule, it's some of these like Gladden Papin, and these characters on the post-liberal right. And they essentially write that the American founding is irredeemably tainted by individualism that turns society against its true order, which is communitarian and based in the family and based in the church. So they want to import an alternative conservative tradition that resembles something more like Central European conservatism. You notice all these guys, they love the Viktor Orban regime in Hungary. They view that as like the true conservative state, whereas the American founding is irredeemably libertarian. The Founding Fathers were Enlightenment thinkers. They were committed to these ideas of figures like John Locke that went astray from the true order of nature.
So traitors, essentially.
essentially.
So if we applied their own rules to them, we would denaturalize them and deport them to the UK, where they belong, I guess, Dr. Phil.
Well, that's one of the ironies of it. You know, they're smart enough to know not to declare this in front of public audiences, even among like protectionist NatCon types. They know if they go up on stage and say, I want to burn down the Declaration of Independence and tear up the Constitution, they'd get booed off the stage.
Yes, rightfully so. But they have to use veiled language, and they have to say it in their podcasts.
Exactly.
In veiled tweets that have like subtext in them, so that people won't call them traitors and suggest that we denaturalize and deport them. And perhaps maybe we need to go get some tiki torches ourselves and stand outside their buildings.
It's the wild thing about it. So yeah, they're speaking in code, and I call these guys, they're too clever by half. When they're in post-liberal audiences or writing in these obscure little house journals that they run, it's all snickers and sneers about the American founding being tainted. And yet when they go before public audiences, like the NatCon conference, they pretend as though, that this is part of the American tradition. So there is an intentional
It's certainly not, especially with the Catholic integralism. If there's one thing that the founders didn't want, it's Catholics running anything in this country.
Well,
if we want to be really traditional, no Catholics allowed.
Well, this is the thing. The First Amendment, the protection of the freedom of religion, gets in the way of their model conception of the state. I'd also argue that, the Catholic Church itself, the Pope, is not an integralist. So they're living in like this almost a deluded fantasy land that views this own little personal strain of theology as if it's something that could be implemented, and yet they don't have a Pope that's willing to implement it because the Catholic Church has also rejected this line of thinking.
It is interesting, but that's not the best argument, Dr. Phil, because the Pope these days tends to go from commie to commie. It's not like Pope. It's not like Pope John Paul II. We're not living back in the Reagan days. They hated the Reagan days. I'm surprised that they don't talk smack about John Paul II, to be quite honest. He was a very strong anti-communist.
He's a strong anti-communist, and he writes encyclicals that are very friendly to free markets. He views that as the antithesis of communism. So, it's a very strange outlook these post-liberals have adopted. Doesn't seem to be at home in the Catholic Church, even though they claim to represent it. It's certainly not at home in the American political tradition, where it does have a home. When you notice all these post-liberals move over and they get patronage jobs from the government of Hungary under Viktor Orban. They have all these institutions that are set up over there to promote post-liberalism. And you look at Orban's economic policy, it's not free market. It is price controls to stop greedflation. It is radical COVID lockdowns. It is variations on modern monetary theory. It's state industrial policy, stuff like that. And they see that as the vision, the future that should be imported into America. And, as an economic free market person, I'm horrified by this.
Yeah, well, I certainly am as well, especially because it seemed for so long there that the Republican Party was on a path towards our ideas. The Tea Party years, there was a talk of a libertarian moment, and it seemed to all fall apart right around 2016. And it's a shame to see it. You kind of compared the trend that we're seeing on the right to what happened on the left when it stopped tolerating dissent. What signs should our listeners watch for that the right is heading down the same path that the left is?
Well, you see some of the rhetoric that's emerged around the tariff cases, and Trump just lost a major case in the Federal Court of Appeals. They struck down most of his tariff agenda, and there's this real pressure on parts of the right to just denounce the courts, denounce the entire legitimacy of the courts, basically claiming that they don't even have proper oversight of a law passed under the Constitution, which, I view that as absolutely absurd. It's a violation of basic core constitutional tenets. And yet there's this pressure to conform, to not criticize the Trump tariff agenda, even if we know it's economically absurd and backward in the way that it's being implemented. And I don't entirely blame Trump for this. Trump is a different type of protectionist. I don't think he's a post-liberal. He's certainly not an integralist, but post-liberal integralists have surrounded him and latched onto his agenda, and they flatter his personal ideological inclination toward tariffs by saying, oh yeah, we're going to provide an intellectual framework that props this up, and that's how they worm their way into the public dialogue around it. So it's very strange because they're post-liberals themselves. I mean, it's like a couple dozen very obscure intellectuals, failed academics, writing in journals that nobody reads, and yet they're advising the vice president of the United States, and they've shifted the narrative around the president's economic agenda.
Yeah, this is great stuff, Dr. Phil, and the audience seems to be liking it because I'm seeing that they're clipping your little monologues and rants. People in the chat over there, like T-Mill22, she just dropped a 45-second clip of what you've been saying there. I think people are really interested in spreading the message, and I want to remind our listeners that if they do share clips from the show today, that both Dr. Phil and myself on X will repost them if you tag us. Just make sure that you tag us. I think yours is Phil W. Magnus over on X. And of course, they know me, AP for Liberty. So tag us both if you drop a clip over on X, and we will help to boost your account to spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty, which is what the Wake Up America show is all about. Gosh darn it. Dr. Phil, we're running out of time. I want to make sure that we covered everything, though. You've been on a tear. It's been fun. It's been fun to watch your posts. So I hope that people do follow you over on X. I did retweet your account a couple of times. Is there anything about this story, any other words of caution, anything else that you think we missed that you'd like to share with your audience? And this is also your opportunity. If you'd like to plug something, please feel free.
Well, the main thing I'd emphasize, I'm an economic historian by background who specialized in 19th century tariffs. I wrote a dissertation on that. I never dreamed that this would be, in 2025, the national topic of economic policy, is revisiting 19th century tariffs. But there's an interesting element to this, and it's that actual economists, people who study these issues, people who know what they're talking about in trade, have almost entirely been excluded from this discussion around shaping national economic policy. You look in the Trump White House, there are very, very few economists, and those that are, there are people like Peter Navarro, who also uses a fake pseudonym, Ron Vera, to reaffirm his own work. So it's a very fringe segment of the economic profession is shaping national economic policy. And I liken this to, as you alluded, the left went off the rails in the early 2010s and started driving out dissent. Well, that happened in the economic realm as well. I contrast the Obama years. They actually had mainstream center-left economists advising them. And this is why we didn't drive completely off the rails in the response to the financial crisis. But by the time Joe Biden came along, those center-left economists had all been pushed out. And instead you had modern monetary theory people and greedflation theory driving national responses to an inflationary crisis. And we know how that ended. It ended in economic catastrophe in the Biden years. So we've seen the left go down this route. I see the right doing the exact same thing. They're driving away the economists. They're driving away people that actually know what they're talking about on these issues. And they're importing cranks and crackpots and regurgitators of 19th century protectionism under the guise of post-liberal integralism and saying that this is like a lost economic tradition that they're recovering, but really, it's heading us right off the cliff economically. These are recipes for how you get recessions and depressions in the future if you start listening to these guys and let them direct national economic policy. So I'm here sounding the alarm saying, no, actually, let's restore some sanity to the discussion, bring the economists back in, look at some of the lessons of history, look at Smoot-Hawley in 1930 that caused the Great Depression to become great. We've been down this route before. We've tried these policies. They fail every single time, and that's not going to change if we try to do them again.
Damn, Dr. Phil is bitching. You're the man, Dr. Phil.
Appreciate it.
Economic historian. It's the kind of thing I nerd out about. So Dr. Phil is a great follow over on X. You better follow him at Phil W. Magnus. Little bit of trivia there. My mother's maiden name is Magnus, so we might even be related. Magnus means the greatest and best, the highest. And my name, Austin, comes from Augustine, August, so August Magnus means I'm the greatest and bestest times 2. Dr. Phil,
there you go.
Hey, we appreciate all that you're doing. Hey, how's that for economics? Dr. Phil, we appreciate all you do for our country and for the cause of liberty. Keep fighting them out there, and we'll keep sending you the ammunition to fight them out there on the front in the war against liberty. It's nice that we have a few warriors out there, Dr. Phil. Keep it up and come back and join us again real soon, will you?
Absolutely.
Have a great day. That's Dr. Phil W. Magnus there. That was a great conversation. I hope he comes back and joins us soon. Have you guys unlocked the bonus content? Oh, you have you? Oh, you have you? Well, guess what? That means that it's time for a spooky alien encounter. Oh, that's not it. Hey, Mr. President, I tried to hit the alien button there. We're going to the alien segment.
Right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who is sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on the release of those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy.
Democrat hoax is one that you campaigned on this one. I mean, he was the big whistleblower on this thing. I like the way that the reporter framed that question, though. Not that you're implicated, but many of your donors might be. That was pretty straight to the point. Stephanie Petersen's in studio with us today live and making the Thursday a thirsty one. And for the ladies out there, though, we've got Remso Martinez joining us live here on the Wake Up America show, if our technology allows. How you doing, Remso? Good to see you, bud.
Austin, I swear, every time I think that the Epstein issue is going to end, it just keeps coming around and coming around.
Well, our boy, Thomas Massie, is out there saying, that we need justice. He's doing this press conference for the victims. I tend to trust Thomas Massie. Mm-hmm. He's been a guy, he's been a stand-up guy in Congress for years. But now if you support Thomas Massie, you're seen as attacking President Trump. Isn't it weird? It's weird that that this is an attack on President Trump, or at least it's supposed to be seen as one, isn't it?
It's weird that he's taken it so personal. And I mean, to that one reporter's question, how bad does it have to be? How nasty does it have to be? How just unraveling does it have to be that Trump is willing to completely alienate his base in order to protect some of the people on here? In his own words, he's gone ahead and said, well, there are a lot of names on there and it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And it's just like, dude, like what does that mean? Like who is on there? It was already concerning enough when Director of the FBI, Kash Patel, and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, who I know to be an ethical man personally, went ahead and said that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. That was already one of those moments where I'm like, okay, you know what? If these two are willing to say that, maybe we're just going to have to be on board with that. But everything else coming out about it just puts the whole narrative of his death, of his life, of the people that may or may not be on this list. According to Pam Bondi, list doesn't even exist after she said the list was on her desk. This is now starting to go ahead and continue to further divide us. And what we saw yesterday between Thomas Massie and Ro Khan by bringing the victims forward, in many ways, we see it in kind of two parts. One, it's Republicans not delivering on Republican promises. Trump did say in a last-minute Hail Mary towards the last quarter of the election, yes, I will go ahead and release this. I will go ahead and make sure that we're transparent about it, and we can go ahead and just wipe this under the rug and move on as a country. On the other hand, the Democrats have completely taken this. So if your job is to help your base, to help Republicans, to go ahead and get independent voters to come and support you, as now we're about a year away from the midterm elections, the Democrats have completely spiked the football on this. The Democrats are talking the way that we were talking 5-6 years ago when Jeffrey Epstein killed himself around 2019. So what we've done is we fractured the base. We're now pointing fingers at each other. We're not reinstalling trust in our systems, and we've just given the Democrats probably one of the biggest talking points. I remember in Wisconsin, a battleground state, last election, you had billboards outside of Milwaukee that showed Trump shaking hands with Jeffrey Epstein in the 90s. Of course, we know they were associated with each other, and that Trump later on, when he learned more about Epstein, had him kicked out of his Florida country club. So, I mean, that's not new. But if they did that just a little bit then, calling him Epstein's friend, now what they're doing is they're calling him Epstein's defender. It goes beyond just, is Trump in the list? It's, why is Trump defending everybody and attacking everybody who supported him?
One of the women named Bill Clinton saying that she was trafficked and flew on the airplane, the Lolita Express, with Bill Clinton. CNN reported yesterday about the survivors event. Here's what they had to say.
The Democrats are doing this, maybe if all of them are going to vote for it, because it makes Republicans uncomfortable. I don't think there is a Democrat who is desperate to see these Epstein files. They had time during the Biden years to do that, and they didn't. But this is about politics.
It's about politics. So it's making Republicans uncomfortable that Bill Clinton is named in all of this stuff. It just stinks, Remso. It stinks.
It's a self-licking ice cream cone. It's a system which defends itself. And if you ever wanted to point out to something that could bring the Uniparty together, it's who's going to be tugging harder at the Jeffrey Epstein file pinata today. It's gross. And, the conspiracies around Epstein itself, I mean, they're a mile long and a mile deep. But I'm strongly looking at this and I'm like, without a doubt, in the year of our Lord 2025, Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset. It's becoming clearer and clearer every day. No pimp criminal blackmailer is this protected. Wow. No one is this protected. The people who were responsible for Watergate went ahead and folded within 2 weeks. Everyone that was involved in the Vince Foster case during the Clinton years folded, and that was left go. And we can go on and on and on.
What does that look like, though, Remso? What does it mean? Most regular Americans, they don't know what it means to be an intelligence asset.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my question.
Explain. What do you mean when you say intelligence asset?
You could go ahead and say spy, but most likely what happens is, and you see this with, even prominent figures throughout history like Yasser Arafat and others who are essentially state-sponsored agents. What you have is you have somebody who it has a couple connections or is knowledgeable about a certain topic, and then an intelligence agency, call it the CIA or Mossad in some cases, they go ahead and they basically create a persona around somebody. Jeffrey Epstein was a math teacher. Jeffrey Epstein was nobody of any real accomplishment.
Really?
Somehow overnight he becomes, one of the main investors in Victoria's Secret, becomes one of the best friends to it's nasty.
So he actually taught in a school with children at one point in his life?
No, it wasn't at college or something like that, was it?
It was like high school or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was.
my
Yeah, he was just an
gosh.
ordinary, boring math teacher.
So there was a pedophile teacher in the schools before we knew he was a pedophile.
Yeah, before we knew. Yeah, but then he does mysteriously becomes the investor in Victoria's Secret and becomes a money manager to billionaires.
Yeah. What it looks like is that he was set up so that way he could be around powerful and prominent people. He could get them in private quarters. He could put them in exploitive situations, blackmailing situations. And then that way, what you have is you have leverage over these people.
Yeah, he was a high school teacher. You were right about that.
Wow. Do we know anything about his family? Like, did he grow up in a family of wealth? Is that maybe how he got so rich?
Early life.
I don't think so, Austin.
Looking it up. Early life. Give me a second here on this one, but
wow. Well, this is all new information to me. This is interesting, Remso.
We do it live.
We'll do it live. Yes, we're doing it live. Yes. So, American financier and sex offender. Began his professional career as a teacher at the Dalton School. He was dismissed in 1976. He went from there straight to Bear Stearns. Which it would be a difficult thing to pull
And
off.
why was he dismissed?
I've had some career flips, Austin, but math teacher at a high school to Bear Stearns is a pretty big flip.
Oh,
I want to see his resume, right? He goes into, his next job. Oh, look, I'm a teacher. I have so many qualifications for this next job that has nothing to do with what I've done before. How does that happen?
Yeah. Anyways, if you're just tuning in the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Petersen. We're speaking to Remso Martinez. My wife Stephanie's on the show with us here today, talking about that press conference that was held yesterday. The Bill Clinton effect on this one. I mean, what do you think about the fact that Bill Clinton is the one they named over and over again? The FBI hasn't even talked to him. I mean, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel. They're ethical, but they're not going to bring in Bill Clinton to be interviewed after he flew on that plane, confirmed 26 times, Remso. Something stinks.
Dude, I'm just wondering when they're going to go ahead and finally throw him in the old Yeller shed. like really? I think Clinton needs to be like sweating bullets right now because, they just recently started spreading a rumor that Chelsea Clinton, his daughter, was interested in running for Jerry Nadler's seat in New York. And now she's like, I don't think I want to do that. So it's like the family seems to be kind of like, hunkering down right now. We saw what they did to Joe Biden a year ago. Just consider what they're going to go ahead and do to Bill Clinton if they really run out of options. I think this cat is at the end of his 9 lives politically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's getting old. He looks pretty old.
Well, maybe that's why Hillary Clinton ran for president, so she could cover up the Epstein crimes, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's like, what does she say about all this? She's supposed to be women empowerment.
I don't know. It's so weird. It's just strange to me because Trump was at the head of the critics. Going out there saying he was going to release the files, he was going to do all this. And it's kind of like, I don't know. There was this old stand-up comedy sketch from this guy. I think his name was Bill Hicks. And he used to talk about what he thinks happens with the presidents when they get elected, Remso, that they immediately take them into the basement and they have the projector starts up and starts whirring and they show the Zapruder tape, but from the grassy knoll where they actually shot John F. Kennedy from.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, by the way, you're going to do what we say or you're going to get this too.
Oh.
But here's
it's a sad environment we're living in. I mean, people are posting screenshots of not even like, a year ago. You got JD Vance saying release the Epstein files. You got Massie to credit for
I'm pulling up the picture right now. Remso, I've got the picture up on the screen right now, Remso, of all of these binder people. They're holding up binders that say Epstein files phase 1. These are people who are they're lecturing us, and they're telling us that we're crazy or that we're Democrats, we're attacking the president. All of these people who held binders then are all now attacking us for demanding transparency on this one. What's with that, Remso?
The influencer industrial complex. You see, the Democratic Party got in trouble this month because they were discovered to have been paying certain social media influencers $8,000 a month. If you don't think that's happening in Republican circles either, I got some swampland out in Florida to go ahead and say.
Why is it that the stupidest and most evil are the ones who, is it the turds? Why do they always float to the top, Remso? Why is it always the worst of us?
They're the easiest to turn.
Yeah.
But what does that say? It says more about them than it says about us. Enough of us. Like you and I both voted for Trump, Austin. You and I wanted Trump's agenda. And we don't really look at this. Like we see Trump for who he is. We know exactly who he is. We're not as offended by the stupid stuff that's coming out of his mouth right now. But what we do know is that Thomas Massie is right on this. He is the only one, once again, the only one who is right about this. And the only way we're going to move past this is an uncomfortable truth, something the American people haven't been granted, maybe something they don't necessarily know that they want, but it's an uncomfortable truth that if we don't get it soon, it doesn't matter what it is. We'll just continue spiraling into this. I call them the blue anon people, like Joy Reid, who says that Trump wasn't really shot in Pennsylvania, that Kamala is actually, the actual president again. Ugh. And now they're the people that are largely pushing Trump must be at the top of the Epstein list. Even the survivors and some of their lawyers yesterday all said Trump had nothing to do with this. In some cases, and this would work to his own benefit, in some cases, he helped us get lawyers. In some cases, he helped us in some way financially. Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, who has information on Trump? Who has leverage on Trump? Or who has leverage on the people that he needs to help secure Republican victories in the future? Even then, what is it worth, Republican victories in the future, if we're defending the people that defend sex offenders and pedophiles and rapists?
There we go. Mm-hmm. That's Remso Martinez here on the Wake Up America show. Remso, moving on to things, the breakfast table issues, the things that are kind of like moving and shaking here. I wonder what your take is on the future of Gavin Newsom. The governor of California is making a lot of moves, a lot of presidential sounding moves. Do you think he's a strong contender? I'll tell you personally, and then I'll let you have it. I kind of think he is a strong contender. I kind of think a lot of people, especially women, are going to want to vote for this guy in 2028. And if you put him, kind of tall, handsome, Aryan, Nick Fuentes and the Groypers are all over this guy. They love him. Versus, JD Vance has the ethnic wife and family, right? We know how the Republican Party is going these days. Serious threat or just smoke and mirrors? Your thoughts?
No, I think he's the nominee. I think I will say right here, right now, that I think the Democratic ticket in 28 is Newsom Shapiro. Mm. What you have is you have two governors who both look like the opposite of the candidates that we've seen the Democrats try and run the past decade, in the fact that, they're in states, they have, to take the approval ratings into account. The union still largely went ahead and publicly backed, Kamala Harris. They still largely stood behind Shapiro in Pennsylvania. And then you go ahead and take into account everything that Newsom is doing in California. Objectively, as a marketer, I'd say he's doing all the things that more Democrats should have been doing. He's trying to pivot. He's trying to go more towards the middle on things. He's taking on Trump on big fights from the position of a leader. He's going ahead and really making people know who Gavin Newsom is. He's not going on the traditional media as much. He's taking something out of the Trump playbook and he's going to podcasts. He's not even just going to liberal podcasts. He's going on Sean Ryan's show, the voice of the of the intelligence community, deep state type of thing. If you're against him, I like Sean Newman. Newman. I think he's interesting, but he's playing this, I'm my own type of Democrat card, and he's been around long enough, and people forget he's related to Nancy Pelosi. He comes from a family of people that know how to go ahead and play the game.
Gross.
So when you take all of this into account, and largely the fact, and to his credit, much like Scott Walker in Wisconsin a decade or so ago, he went ahead and got pulled into a nasty recall election, which he still won. He's one of only several governors, including Scott Walker, who ran and lost the presidential nomination in 2016. He won that recall election in a much bigger state, in a much more contentious election. So if you want to talk about people who are in the position to receive a party nomination, I think it's absolutely Gavin Newsom. I'd put money on that right now. Whether or not that's good enough to go ahead and win a general election, though, not at all. I think far too many Americans have seen him across his time as the mayor of San Francisco, as the worst governor in America. It's neck and neck with him and Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. And they don't forget what he did during COVID. And that's the one thing that not enough people keep his feet to the fire about, that he was an absolute tyrant during COVID. While your lives were being ruined, he didn't suffer a day in his life.
Yeah.
He let those fires go ahead and destroy homes. His war on homelessness. Guess what? We can go ahead and congratulate the winner. Homelessness. We see him for what it is. He should be the easiest candidate for any Republican to beat. I mean this. He's easier than Biden. He's easier than Harris. He's easier than Clinton. Anybody. He should be the easiest. If Republicans lose to Gavin Newsom, it's because they deserve it.
Man.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I pray to God that's not going to happen.
I hope you're right.
L-Dubs in the chat says, I hope you're right, Remso, but political memory is so short-term these days.
Yeah.
He's got a good point there. Remso, speaking of marketing, what are we working on these days, brother? Anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before we let you go?
Got a lot going on, but you can go ahead and just keep up with me at marketerontherun.com. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Remso. You have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again, hopefully real soon. Enjoy Vegas.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Wow, I learned a lot of shocking things
from this. He's got these magical doctors who claim that he was shot in the ear, but his ear, I guess, grew back. He had a Duplo bandage on 1 minute, no bandage the next. We can't get a medical record from this alleged assassination. He was supposedly shot. We have nothing. We've got nothing.
Where are the investigative records? One day he slapped his maxi pad on his ear. The next day the ear is totally fine.
It's fine. And I remember being in mainstream media where we both used to work saying, isn't it odd that we've never asked for his medical records? And I got in trouble for that. Right? So you're not allowed to even say, isn't that weird? We have more records. I know more about the attempted Ford assassination, President Ford, than I do about Donald Trump. And the Gerald Ford thing happened when I was a child. Right? And they put out more information almost immediately. We know almost immediately almost everything about Kennedy's assassination. I know more about McKinley's assassination than I do about this attempt to assassinate Trump when he was a presidential candidate. We're getting nothing. And the mainstream media isn't demanding his medical records. They're not demanding anything. They're terrified of this man. And now that the people are speculating that he might have died, we only get that online. But mainstream media is acting like everything's fine. He seems fine to me.
Well, I mean, it is weird that his ear looks fine. However, we live in a modern society where there are a lot of makeup artists and people who know how to construct ears out of different things.
I've had like little injuries that the next day is just, I could take the bandage off for the next day and stuff like that.
But not when you get shot.
Yeah, well, it literally just pierced his ear. It just the top of his ear was pierced. So, I mean,
yeah, but didn't some skin come off?
I don't think so. I think it just kind of it went straight through, it just kind of pierced the top of it. And then, they sewed it back together, maybe 2 or 3 stitches. And then they put a bandage on it and it stopped bleeding and he was out the next day. I don't know. Steffi, you got a conspiracy theory on this.
I have a feeling maybe it really didn't pierce his ear as much as he leads on.
Oh, okay.
Because if it did, I mean, okay, I'm a redhead, so my skin heals a lot differently than other people's skin.
Yes.
I have more fair skin, so all my scars show. For example, I got bit by chiggers over the summer and the scars are still there and they're not going away yet. So I just think he has some really great makeup artists You know, like in those scary movies, how like people construct, all kinds of things on people's faces, like boils and blood. And he probably had one of those like horror movie makeup artists who just made him like a fake ear. And it just looked really good and really real.
Yes.
I mean, I would have to see him in person because, again, cameras can do a lot of good where they don't show all the little nooks and crannies of an ear.
I love that we're going down this rabbit hole. I'm enjoying this one. But the show itself is almost over. I wanted to share something with you before you go. A frequent New Jersey town hall menace. Unfortunately, we didn't break the mini documentary or the full bonus content goal today.
Aww.
So that means that we won't get to see the mini documentary or Chuck E. Cheese live from the jail. We did raise $50, but you have to hit 75.
You.
Yeah, and thank you for that. But we had to hit the 75 and the $100 goal. So today we didn't hit the bonus content. So
it's because I'm here.
Yeah, but
I ruined everything.
It could no, I don't think that's it. We didn't spend a lot of time plugging it. But I wanted to share this last story and video before we go, and we'll put the outro music for it. A frequent New Jersey town hall menace, break dances in silence. He complained. Oh, there's Andy Opperman with his 10 subs. Okay, he does want to see the bonus content.
Wait, so 10 subs is $5 each?
No, yeah. So
oh
that's,
my gosh.
So that's actually
$50.
that's the bonus content right there.
So that's $50 plus $40, or 50 plus 50 is $100.
Yes. So then that's the $100.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
All right. So all right. Well, before we go to the mini documentary and have Chuck E. Cheese on the show, let us share with you. I want to see this guy. I want you to see this guy.
What is happening?
Mr. Thilly, I started your time.
He wanted to break down the issues. A man in New Jersey running for a committee in his township crashed a town hall by slipping into a breakdance routine. And he delivered a tirade against increased taxes, but I can't find the video where he's raging against the taxes.
What in the world?
Will Thilly, he's a resident of the township of Cranford, sashays up to the podium. He started breakdancing, carried on for a whole minute. He was bopping to nothing but his own shoes skidding against the floor. And then all right. And he goes back to grab his paper and water.
Oh my gosh.
Right? He walks up and he goes, wait until you hear what he has to say here.
Oh, he dropped his paper. Oh my goodness.
I couldn't find the part where he was complaining about taxes. A little sip of water.
This guy's really taking his time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's taking all his time. He's apparently running for town council, too.
How was everyone's weekend?
Oh, good.
Good. Anyone go anywhere fun? I got back. I went to Mexico. But I just went to visit.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's not.
What?
That's not all. Oh, that's not all. Hold on. I've got the.
So weird.
There's more.
Backspin. Anybody? You want to see me do the backspin?
Oh, they put music in this one.
Yeah, you know, like the backspin. I'm gonna do the backspin. Can I do it up here? I'm gonna do that. Watch this.
Oh my goodness. Whoa! Whoa! Oh, he probably hurt his back right there. Ooh, on the hard floor. Yeesh.
I just love it.
That was great music.
Oh, well,
I was feeling it.
You know what? It was actually an accident. It was this other YouTube video that I accidentally played. All right, that's enough of that. All right, guys. So we've got the bonus content. Here's the thing.
Thank you, Andy. You always really help us out. Thank you.
I've got to grab the video here real quick, but it's here. Chuck E. Cheese got arrested yesterday. It's Stephanie Stall him while I grab the clip.
Ugh. I don't know if I'm going to have some PTSD flashbacks going on when I see Chucky from jail. This might be a little scary for
there
me.
we go. I found the clip. Here it is. This is Chuck E. Cheese yesterday. He got arrested. Take a look at this clip. Watch this.
Chucky's a little bit busy, man. Chucky, come with me, Chucky. Come on.
Come with Chucky. Chucky, stop resisting.
Kids and parents alike were very confused to see cops arrest the one and only Chuck E. Cheese at his own establishment. But police in Tallahassee, Florida say they were really after the guy wearing the costume. Officials say he's 41-year-old Jermel Jones, and he used a stolen credit card to make more than $100 in purchases. But try explaining that to fans of the mouse.
It's not my call, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
Cops say they found the stolen card on him and charged him with credit card theft, criminal use of a credit card, and criminal use of personal identification. Jones has denied wrongdoing. He has bonded out of jail. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Mara Montalbano.
Wow.
I'm really excited about this because we actually have Chucky from Chuck E. Cheese live from the jail. Don't go away. We got to go pay off the guard. We owe him $100. So we're going to go slip him $100. And then when we get back, then we've got the camera inside the jail. They can get those cameras in jails these days.
They with those old school phones.
We'll be right back with Chucky from Chuck E. Cheese. Don't go away. It's the Wake Up America show on the 4 Liberty Network. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I never thought my career would end like this. Not with a bang, but with a beep. The beep of a credit card machine. You see, for years, I entertained America's children. I gave them arcade tokens, greasy pizza, and animatronic bands that haunted their dreams. I was the American dream in fur and a baseball cap. And yet, one bad night in Tallahassee, I became the headline. Chuck E. Cheese arrested. Now, let me explain. Do you know how hard it is to make ends meet on a mascot salary? You try buying mozzarella at 2025 prices. Inflation hit me harder than a skee ball to the face. I found a card. Yes, it was in my pocket. Yes, it had someone else's name on it. But Your Honor, I was just holding it for a friend. The cops came in during my shift. Kids were asking for selfies. Moms wanted pictures. And the officer says, Chucky, you're under arrest. And I said, officer, can you at least wait until after the birthday song? He said, no, cake time is over. Don't make a scene. They put me in cuffs. Kids were crying. One boy shouted, don't take him. He owes me 200 tickets. Another said, who's going to sing happy birthday now? And a mom yelled, can I get a refund? the greatest tragedy of all. Yes, they found a little marijuana in my pocket too, but come on, you spent 8 hours sweating in a giant mouse suit with screaming kids and tell me you wouldn't want a medical card. But I'm not a criminal. I am a survivor. I am the pizza-slinging, coin-gobbling, arcade-dwelling mouse of the people. They can strip me of my tokens. They can lock up my animatronic bandmates. But they can never take away the memories of pizza parties past. So I say to you, stand with Chucky. Don't let them cancel me. Don't let them silence the mouse. And if I end up in prison for life, well, at least maybe I'll finally get a medical marijuana license. And remember, every time you hear a skee ball roll, every time you smell cheap pepperoni, every time you see a sad prize counter stocked with off-brand yo-yos, I'll be there, watching, waiting, plotting my comeback tour. Because in the end, I am Chuck E. Cheese, and I am innocent until proven cheesy. Remember me. Remember me. Wow. Well, thank you to Chucky for joining us here on the show. What are you squeezing there, Stephanie?
My emotional support pillow.
What is that thing?
It's an atomic bomb. At forlibertyshop.com. It's actually really soft. It's very plushy.
Didn't you design that yourself? I'm pretty sure you did.
I don't know if I'm the one who did this one, but I did design pillows, which are gun pillows. So I did make a lot of them.
Yes. And
with your very favorite guns, like AK-47s, AR-15s. And so you can cuddle with them, and your kids can cuddle with them too. They're child safe.
We've sold some of the Killdozer Pulo collection as well. Some of the Killdozer Pulos are also very popular. We've got 1911s, M60 machine guns, Glocks, grenades, energy swords, AR-15s, AK-47s, everything.
We're hoping to make even more pillows with some of our favorite characters on them.
There you go. You can get them at forlibertyshop.com. Type in Pulo, P-E-W-L-O-W, Pulo collection over at the Liberty Shop, guys. And don't forget to check out, while you're there, grab a box of Founding Flavors coffee and check out our AI course. Hopefully we'll get you guys as students. You will learn from the master how to take over the internet with your internet memory. Stephanie, anything else?
Be free.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you guys right again here tomorrow. More Stephanie and Austin on Freedom Family Friday with Justin 2 on the Wake Up America show and the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys.
School year is here, and while millions of students still trudge off to public school classrooms in days divided by subjects, there are fewer kids making that trek than in the past, and their experiences aren't nearly so similar as once was the case. The ranks of public school students are thinning, partly because of the declining birth rate, but also because a growing share of the population prefers alternatives like private schools and homeschooling. They're increasingly assisted with funding from education choice programs. K-12 enrollment is on the decline between a combination of dropping birth rates and more school choice options, putting schools in a tight bind, Lexi Lonis Cochran reported for The Hill at the end of August. the public school system is expected to see a drop of millions of students over the next 5 years, a hit that will affect schools financially and potentially lead to the closure of more districts. Cochrane noted that the U.S. fertility rate, declining like that in many other countries around the world, hit historic lows in recent years. Fewer births mean fewer children to educate in years to come. But, adds Cochrane, since COVID-19, the interest in homeschooling and private school options has exploded, especially as states pass legislation making it easier for children to go to other schools and taking some money from public school systems to do it. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, total public elementary and secondary school enrollment fell from a peak of 50.8 million in 2019 to 49.6 million in 2022. It's believed to be under 49 million now and expected to fall below 47 million in 2030. The effects are felt all over the country. In Florida, Miami-Dade County public school enrollment is down by more than 12,000 students from last year. In Texas, the large Houston area Cypress Fairbanks School District is down by 6,400 students in the same period. A report presented to the school board noted that students are increasingly transferring out of Cy-Fair ISD to pursue other education options, such as charters, private schools, and homeschooling. In Nevada, the Clark County School District dropped from more than 330,000 students in 2019 to fewer than 286,000 now. The Las Vegas Review-Journal editorial board acknowledges fertility decline, but adds that charter schools have seen their enrollment skyrocket, and that families also increasingly favor homeschooling and private schools. Overall, Genevieve Smith and Angela R. Watson write in Harvard's Education. Next, as of 2023, nearly 6% of all school-aged children nationwide were reported as homeschooled during the 2022-23 school year. This compares to 10% of students in private schools and 84% in public schools. That partially obscures the degree of change, since about 7% of public school students now attend privately managed, publicly funded charter schools, up from 4% in 2010. The share of homeschoolers doubled just since 2020, increasing from around 3% of students. The why of these shifts in where and how students are educated has many causes, including disappointment with public school quality, proliferating options, and the ease with which educational materials can be accessed over the internet. But, as Tara Moon observes in coverage of declining public school enrollment for Future Ed, the pandemic played a major role in accelerating the decline. Some families withdrew their children entirely and educated them at home, while others opted for private schools, many of which resumed in-person learning sooner than public schools. Many families were horrified by learning losses they saw in their children when schools bungled remote learning during pandemic lockdowns. They were often equally disturbed by what they saw over their kids' shoulders in terms of lesson content. Recent polling finds that nearly 2/3, 64% of school parents say K-12 education is headed in the wrong direction, up 8 points from last year. 36% of parents say they would send their children to private school if they could, 14% would choose homeschooling, 10% prefer charter schools, and 40% would stick with traditional public schools. Existing private school parents report the highest satisfaction with their choice, followed by homeschoolers and charter school parents, with traditional public school parents at the rear. The more families unhappy with traditional schooling who turned to private schools or decided to teach their own kids, either alone or in arrangements like learning pods and micro schools, the more awareness of and comfort with education options increased. That has driven demand for reforms that ease access to education choices other than traditional public schools. Writing for EdChoice, Brandon Reuter reported last week that, in just 1 year, the total number of students participating in private school choice programs across the nation skyrocketed, increasing by 25%. Nationally, over 1.3 million children now use such programs, education savings accounts, ESAs, in particular. The details vary from state to state, but ESAs make education funding portable, allocating money that follows students to the schooling of their choice rather than assigning it to a building or district. That eases matters for families that would otherwise pay for tuition or education materials on top of the burden of taxes that support public schools. Similarly, the Johns Hopkins School of Education Homeschool Hub revealed last year that 21 states have reported homeschool participation for 2023-2024. Of those, only 2 show a decline. Of the 2 states reporting a decline, New Hampshire stopped counting homeschooled students who receive ESA funding as homeschoolers. So, this decline may not truly reflect a decrease in actual homeschool participation, but maybe just a change in how students are counted in this state. For the 2023-2024 school year, the Homeschool Hub found the highest shares of homeschooled students in Alaska, 16.15%, Tennessee, 10.75%, and Montana, 9.03%. The lowest shares were in Connecticut, 3.01%, Washington, D.C., 3.04%, and Massachusetts, 3.39%. And remember that the ranks of students in charter schools, private schools, and homeschooling are increasing not only as the number of students in traditional public schools declines, but as the total number of school-age children falls. In the years to come, there will be fewer kids overall, and their education experiences will vary far more widely than those of recent generations. From experience, I assure parents and students alike that this changing environment will work out just fine. School days will come and go, as always, but they'll be better, since the schools will be chosen by families, not just assigned by default.